Hey guys, Justin here for a rare webcam video. So we're going to answer the big question first. How much does NASCAR oval iRacing cost? And so I have a couple different answers, and I went about this a couple different ways, but for now we're going to just look at these two top tables here and look at the bottom ones a little later. So first off, we have the different types of tracks here. You have legacy tracks, which are only $5 a pop, and there are only a few of them, and they're pretty relevant for ARCA, and once in a while they pop up on another series in like an off season or something. And then you have large ovals. So large ovals isn't necessarily the size, but it's the price. So there are 28 ovals that are $15 a pop, and most of those are NASCAR adjacent or very big. And so the only exception to that, I think, is Gateway is the only one that is $12. That's also on the NASCAR schedule. And so that's in the small ovals. So most of these are short tracks. Then there are also 6 NASCAR road courses and 2 NASCAR dirt courses, or courses that they go on the schedule. And then you're going to get 4 cars through your ladder here: the ARCA car, the truck, the Xfinity, and the next gen car. So putting all that together, we come up with a total of $786.5. And now we're going to estimate the discount here that we'll look at in a second, because no matter how many pieces of content you've bought prior, if you have 6 things in your cart, then you're going to get 20% off. So basically we're going to do buy 5 get 1 free. So I just multiplied the total by 5/6 to get a rough estimate of what your cost after discounts is going to be. So the real number here is going to be $645, give or take a few dollars, and then the overall for the cost of 1 year, if you want to just do ovals, is $549, and then if you want to do all of the NASCAR tracks and 1 year subscription, that's going to be $552. So that's a daunting amount of money for a video game right off the bat. So what are we going to do to spread this out a little better? We have some strategies that I'll show you in a little bit here that we can make your money go a farther way in terms of being able to run something about every single week, what cars to buy, at when, and then also what tracks to look for. So let's look at some of those strategies now. So here's an example cart that I have of 6 tracks that I don't own yet, and you see that I have 20% off, and they call it the 40 plus piece club, but that's because I have bought a lot of iRacing crap. So anybody can get this 20% off as long as they have 6 items in their cart. So think of it as a buy 5 get 1 free. So if you're maximizing your money, you want to buy content in pieces of 6. But let's see, if we go over to the schedule here, so let's say you're coming out of rookies and you want to do ARCA. And that's pretty much the only option you have on the NASCAR ladder. You can go to late models and do the short track thing, but if you're doing the NASCAR ladder, then you probably want to start in ARCA. And so as you see here, we're already all the way down in week 9. So we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks left that we can buy tracks for and still race. So what this means is that I want to buy the ARCA cars, number 1, number 2 Atlanta, number 3 Chicago, number 4 Irwindale, number 5 Texas, so that I have something to race every single week. And because of that, I have 1 thing left in my cart, but I can't really see into the future. So what do I buy? Well, the first good bet would be the truck, because you'll get to C-Class eventually, hopefully, and it's good just to have that ready to go. You're going to use it. But another thing that we can look into is the second spreadsheet I have here. And I actually made this with my friend Stefan, aka ISOT, I believe he goes by on Discord. I actually don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize, Stefan. So anyways, what we did here is we scraped an iRacing database that has collected the participation and the schedule stats for all ovals, or actually all tracks, but we just scraped the ovals, ever since the beginning of 2020. So what we have here is basically a count for ARCA, C fixed, B fixed, and A fixed for all of the times a track has been used in the past 3 years. So I have the link to this in the description, and feel free to view it and use it when considering what tracks and cars you want to buy next. So as you can see here, in the past 3 years, Iowa has been used 7 times on the ARCA schedule, and then also 6 times on the truck schedule. So Iowa is actually one of my top 3 picks for newer people to buy just generic tracks, not considering the schedule. Just go ahead and buy it, you'll use it eventually. And the other ones are going to be Daytona and Talladega, because those get used a heck of a lot, both 2 times a year for each in the real life series, and they love to throw them in the off season, and then they throw it onto the ARCA schedule once every season or so. Some other good tracks are going to be Dover, Texas, Bristol, Homestead, Darlington, Vegas. All these are good bets. If you see it being used, 4+ times in the past 3 years, they are very good bets of tracks that you just want to generically have ready for when the schedule rolls around. And you can see most of those even flip over to ARCA, Dover, Homestead, Chicago even though it's not on the real life schedule anymore, so that might see a dip. Atlanta, Kansas, some of those cookie cutters are really good bets that they'll be used. So use this list right here when considering what generic tracks to buy if you don't have access to a schedule to plan ahead. And also buy your cars ahead of time, but only if you think that you can make them in a timely manner, because there's nothing worse than buying a cup car and taking a year to get to A class for whatever reason. It's just kind of sitting there with nothing to do unless you want to do carb cup, I guess. Oh, and also one last thing to consider is the participation stats that we also included here. So the average max drivers is going to be every maximum participation that a race had, and then averaged out between all the times it's occurred on the schedule. So you see that Iowa has on average a maximum of 187 people driving in an hour. So this doesn't tell a lot, but it gives trends. So the magic number is about 100. You want to buy tracks that have the max number of 100 or more, because any less than that, and that usually correlates to tracks going dead at the late night splits, or maybe splits that you might want to run, they might just go unofficial. The NASCAR series rarely have a problem with this, but this is something big to check when you're doing short track series and we're doing road. And I'll bring up that site here right now. So this website here is called simracingstats.com. Link of it will be in the description as well, but you just have to Google iRacing stats and it'll be one of the top results. iRacing participation stats even. So we'll go over to Oval and we'll go over to ARCA. And so this is kind of a lot of plain text information that we don't really know, but let's go into Nashville Super Speedway. So you see here that anything under, I think, 8 is an unofficial race. So for the entire week, it looks like every race went official, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 if I'm looking really closely. But for the most part, you're going to get official races all hours of the night. Ooh, it looks like 4:45 a.m. So tough luck if you want to race at 4:45 a.m. So that's kind of funny. But basically, you want to correlate the times that you're racing with this schedule and make sure that this track is most likely to be official at your time. I know this is very applicable to some people in like Europe or Asia too. So we'll look at another example here, USA International. So this track kind of died midweek. So let's say that you had to buy this track. I know it's a free track, but let's just do this as a hypothetical. So this would be a track that if you had to buy, I might stay away from unless I was able to race in the peak hours, which is going to be between 12:45 and 8:45. I'm on the Western time. So make sure that it works for you, because there's nothing worse than buying a track, practicing it, having fun, showing up for a race, and nobody else shows up. So this is a lot more applicable to road, and I might talk about this again if I ever make a road guide to buy an iRacing. So like we'll go to a random, so like I know Skip Barber is super popular. Oh, I guess it's not as popular anymore, but you see you'll most likely find a race. And then if you go to another series like I don't even know what Grand Prix Legends is. Some of them go official, but some of them don't. So that's definitely something to think about when buying cars in the road side. But in the NASCAR side, the process of making it through the NASCAR ladder is basically already decided for us. So that makes that a little bit easier. Now looking through it again, it looks like I missed NASCAR Legends series. I'm sorry, guys. This is a good series too. You see some participation here, but this is another one. If you're going the NASCAR route, just know that you're going to want to race in very normal after work American hours for it to be a good race. And then one more website I want to show you guys to help you out is the iRacing Buyer's Guide, or irbg.net. What the tool here can do that my tool can't yet is basically to compare series. So let's look on the oval side, we'll check off the ARCA, and we'll check off C-Fixed. And basically what it tells us is what tracks are used in both series over the past season. So we see here that Bristol has been used, Homestead has been used both series, Texas has been used in both series, and Atlanta has been used in both series. This is a very good tool to make everything simplified at the beginning of the season when you're planning on doing multiple series. But if you want to just stick to one series and look far ahead, then the actual schedule is a good tool, and then the spreadsheets I think are a good tool to project into the future. All right, and now we're back to the original spreadsheet. I've actually upgraded a little bit to give you guys a better idea, tweak some numbers, and I think I have a good idea down here now. So what we have are two methods that we can go about purchasing tracks on a regular basis. So the first method is going to be you want to race something every single week on iRacing, or something official at least. So what we're going to do is we're going to put into account buying a new car each season, because hopefully we'll be able to progress through our licenses and make it to a higher license class each season, so making it to A class by the end of the year, hopefully. So what we have here in our first season, we have 8 tracks purchased, because in ARCA, there's usually 4 free tracks on the schedule, which leaves 8 to be purchased. And so adding the sub count to that, and then because we're over the 6 purchasing limit, we can take the discount. So it's about $112 for that first season. And then for the second season, same exact thing, except now with our found flexibility in buying the truck and already owning some tracks from ARCA, we'll probably only have to buy about 6 tracks that season. So that'll put us to $92 for that season. And then from that on out, buying these cars, we still want to reach that 6 limit, but more than likely you'll be able to race something most weeks. In fact, when you get to season 4, there may only need to be 2 weeks that you have to buy something, but you still want to buy that full 6 so that you can get the full value out of it. And that's of course if you're planning to buy everything eventually anyways. If you can only pay for what you can pay for, then take these numbers and multiply it by about 1.2-ish and 1.25, something like that, and you'll get a better estimate. So what we are left with is about $312 worth of purchases that we still need to make. And so if we do our bundles of 6, that means within 4 seasons we'll own everything that we need to. And then the other way to do this is racing full seasons. So let's say you really want to get participation credits. And actually I haven't put in participation credits here yet, but let's say each season you do a full season, so 8 out of 12 weeks. So ARCA, doing a full season is actually going to be cheaper in the first season, but that's assuming that you only do, and actually we have to raise this to 5, apologies, to get the discount. So we buy 5 tracks and we have 1 car purchased. That's our 6 pieces of content. That'll cost us $85. And then for the second, another 8 tracks. So the reason I do 8 tracks is because I think that usually there's no layover from one season to the next, maybe 1 or 2 tracks at the most for truck. So really this could maybe be down to 7 or 6, but just to be safe I put 8 here. And so expect to pay a maximum of $120 with the discount. And then for the third season, when you make your way up to Xfinity and you want to run full season of that, then you probably have to buy around 6 more tracks to run the full season, maybe a little less, but regardless you need to buy 6 pieces of content. So again, we do it more for leftover purchases. We'll have $299, so almost the same one way to the other. And we basically will be able to make bundles of 6 purchases for another year. So by the end of your second year for each way here, you're gonna own all the content, basically paying roughly $100 every 3 months. So if that's not something that you can afford, if you have to do maybe budget yourself to $50 a month or something like that, buy 2 or 3 tracks, 1 car, 2 tracks, you are not going to be able to run the full seasons, or at least you're not going to be able to run something every single week for the first few seasons, but it'll snowball. By the time you get to your second year, even if you're only paying about $50 per season, you'll probably have something to run by the second year every single week. From there on, you can just kind of extrapolate it out. Once you get to 40 pieces of content, you get that 20% discount forever. I think it'll be somewhere in the middle of your second year that you'll get that. So that's just an idea of common ways to budget out your schedule, and also being able to purchase cars and being able to race stuff as much as possible. But again, if you don't have about $100 a month to budget for iRacing, don't expect to run every single week in an official way. But anyways, if you all have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. Again, if you want to watch me do a road guide of this, feel free to like the video and that'll show me that there's support for this. And then also all the links to all these spreadsheets, all the sites that I talked about today will be in the description. All right, thanks guys. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.